Welcome to my channel, Soldier's Legacy. Today we bring you a story of arrogance, humility, and hidden power. A story that reminds us that rank is not worn on a face, and respect should never be optional. Sit back, relax, and let this cinematic tale play in your heart. The naval base sat quietly on the edge of the cold morning sea. A light fog rolled across the docks while sailors marched to their stations. It was inspection day. Tension was high. Shoes were polished, uniforms were crisp, and every soldier was instructed to behave. But in the cafeteria, discipline was the last thing on the mind of Private Mason. He was known on the base for his bad attitude and loud laugh. He pushed others around, made jokes at their expense, and believed that being the strongest meant being the most respected. That morning, the cafeteria smelled of steaming milk and boiled eggs. Soldiers chatted quietly, trying to calm their nerves before the big inspection. Mason's eyes scanned the room and fell on someone he did not recognize, a new face. A woman in a plain Navy uniform with no visible rank displayed. She looked calm, composed, and slightly tired from a long journey. Mason smirked. "That's fresh meat," he whispered to his friend. "Someone needs to teach her how things work around here." Ash! His friend swallowed nervously. "Don't mess around today. The new Admiral arrives soon." Mason waved him off. "Relax. What can she do?" The woman walked to the end of the table and silently poured herself a cup of hot milk. Her hands were steady, her posture confident, but she didn't speak to anyone. It annoyed Mason. He wanted attention. He wanted laughter. He grabbed a cup of steaming milk from the counter, walked behind her quietly, and then, with a childish grin, threw the scalding liquid onto her back. A gasp echoed through the cafeteria. The woman stiffened. The pain was sharp. Her uniform absorbed the milk quickly, burning her skin. But she didn't scream. She didn't shout. She simply closed her eyes and took a deep breath. That's how we welcome new recruits. Mason laughed loudly, expecting applause, but nobody else laughed. The cafeteria froze. The doors suddenly swung open. The base commander entered with several high-ranking officers. One by one, soldiers stood at attention. Mason froze in place, still holding the empty cup, as the commander's voice boomed across the room. "All personnel, prepare to greet the new Admiral." A hush fell like ice. Boots clicked sharply behind him. The woman Mason had burned stepped forward silently and saluted. "Rear Admiral Alina Rivers reporting for duty." Mason's heart stopped. The laugh died in his throat. His knees trembled. Whisper after whisper rippled across the room. "That's the new Admiral." Oh no, she didn't even react. Admiral Rivers turned slowly, her eyes calm but cold. "Private Mason," she said softly. Her voice was quiet, but the entire cafeteria felt it in their bones. "Yes, Admiral," he breathed, barely able to stand. "Follow me." They walked down the long hallway. Each step echoed. Mason's throat tightened. The pain he caused her felt like a weight on his soul. Inside her office, she removed her jacket. Red blisters covered her back and shoulders. Mason lowered his head in shame. "Do you know why this uniform has no visible rank today?" she asked calmly. "No, Admiral, because leaders walk among their people unseen to observe their hearts." Her voice trembled slightly from the pain, yet she stood tall. "You saw someone new, someone quiet, and instead of offering help, you chose cruelty. Tell me, Private, is this the spirit of the Navy?" Mason's eyes filled with tears. "No, Admiral. I'm sorry." "Sorry is the beginning," she replied, "but it is never enough." She turned toward the window, watching ships rocking gently in the sea. "When I was younger," she continued, "I was bullied for being small, for being quiet, for being different. But I did not let cruelty shape me. I let kindness guide me." Her words pierced Mason like arrows. "In this uniform," she whispered, "there is no room for arrogance." Mason fell to his knees. "Please give me a chance to change." She studied him for a long moment. The silence was heavy. "You will report to the medical ward," she said. Not for yourself, but to volunteer. You will help nurses, clean floors, carry equipment, and witness the suffering of those injured, protecting your freedom. He nodded desperately. Yes, Admiral, and you will do this, she added, for the next 6 months. It wasn't a punishment of anger. It was a punishment of learning. Mason swallowed hard. I accept. When he walked out of her office, soldiers watched silently. No one smirked. No one whispered. Everyone's hearts were changed. Days passed. Mason scrubbed floors, delivered medicine, and held the hands of wounded soldiers who cried for their families. Every tear he saw broke something inside him. Every story he heard softened his heart. He worked side by side with nurses until his back ached and his hands shook. Slowly, he became gentle, quiet, helpful, and each day he would see Admiral Rivers walking the halls calmly, her back still healing. She never complained. Her strength wasn't loud. It was silent and unbreakable. One afternoon, Mason stood beside a young soldier trembling in pain after surgery. He held the soldier's hand gently and whispered, "You'll be okay. I'm here." Admiral Rivers watched from the doorway. A small, proud smile ghosted across her lips. This was why she punished through compassion, not humiliation. Months later, the base gathered again for inspection. The sun was bright. Seagulls cried overhead. Mason stood straighter than ever, uniform spotless, his eyes respectful. When Admiral Rivers stopped in front of him, their eyes met. "You've changed," she said quietly. "Yes, Admiral," he replied. "Thanks to you." She nodded. "Remember this lesson always. Respect is not earned through strength, but through humanity." He saluted sharply, tears burning behind his eyes. The ceremony ended. Soldiers dispersed, but something unforgettable lingered, the feeling that cruelty had been transformed into empathy. Years passed. Mason rose through the ranks. The memory of that burning milk never left him, not because he feared punishment, because it changed his soul. One evening, as rain tapped softly on the windows, Admiral Rivers retired. The base lined up to salute her one last time, and with quiet steps, she passed each soldier. Including Mason, he whispered, "Thank you for teaching me how to be human." She smiled gently. The greatest leaders are not the strongest, but the kindest. The salute echoed like thunder. She walked away with grace, and Mason, now a wiser man, lived the rest of his career with humility. He became the kind of leader who walked among his people unseen, just as she once did, because true power is never loud. It's silent. It's respectful. It's earned. Like, comment, and subscribe to Soldier's Legacy. And remember, respect everyone, for you never know who stands before you.